Alright, this problem wants to know how many different rectangles we can make using 12 colored tiles. And then it also wants us to draw those rectangles, record the area and the perimeter for each of those rectangles that we draw, and compare and contrast them and explain why we think so. So this problem, it's instructing. You can draw it. You could also have students work with colored tiles that were actual manipulatives, that they could create the shapes and therefore then transfer onto a piece of paper. But if they wanted something to work with that was more physical. But in the sense, I'm going to draw them out. So there should be 3 different options that you could do. So the first option, and well, these options are based off of the factors of 12. So if we do the factors, we have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. So those are our factors of 12. And so therefore, because there are 3 sets, of factors, we therefore can make 3 different types of rectangles. So let's see. Let's do the 6 by 2 first. So we need to split this into 6 parts. So there's 1 section, 2 sections, 3 sections, 4 sections, 5 sections, and 6. And then if we split it down the center, and we can color these in since it says that we're working with colored tiles. Alright, so there we have our 6 by 2 tiles. And let's go ahead and give them some units. So how about we say 6 inches. And actually, let's do centimeters. So 6 centimeters by 2 centimeters. Alright. And then let's do our next one. So that would be 3 by 4. 3, 4, 4 sections, and then 3 columns. Alright, so that's 3 by 4. Let's keep these units the same. And we can give them some color. Alright, so there we have that one, and then the last one we can make is a 12 by 1. This is a really skinny rectangle, but it's a rectangle nonetheless. So we have 12 centimeters by 1 centimeter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I'll just tack on a last one there. Obviously these are not drawn to scale, but that's okay. Alright, so there, give them some color. Alright, so now it wants us to figure out the area and the perimeter of each of our rectangles that we've created. So here if we look at our 6 by 2, let's do all the areas first. So area, and area. Alright, so looking at our 6 by 2, we know that area equals length times width. So we need to do 6 times 2. Well, 6 times 2 is going to be 12. And actually, that's going to be the case for all of these because we're working with 12 tiles. And so the trick is when you're doing area and you're working with tiles, realistically, all you have to do is be able to count the number of tiles within the rectangle, and that would be your area. But, when rectangles get really big, it can get more complicated to do it that way, so therefore we have our length times width method as an easier option. So we know our area now is 12 centimeters for all of that, and then now we need our perimeters. So, let's see, let's work with red. Alright, so for our 6 by 2, let me just erase these areas because we know the area is 12 now for all of these. Alright, so now we need our perimeters. Okay, so 6 by 2. Alright, so now we need to make sure that we add these on both sides, on the opposite sides that they're showing, and then we add everything together. So 6 plus 6 equals 12, and 2 plus 2 equals 4. So then if we add 12 plus 4, we get 16 centimeters. Oh, and I did forget to mention that when we write the area, so for the 12 by 1 over here, the area will be 12 centimeters, but it's going to be 12 centimeters squared. Okay, because that's our units for area. I forgot to mention that. Just wanted to throw that in there. Alright, so we have our 16 centimeters over here, and that is our perimeter for that first rectangle. Now we have the perimeter for the 4 by 3, so we have 4 plus 4, and that equals 8, and then 3 plus 3 equals 6, and if we add those two together, we get 14 centimeters. Okay, and then lastly the 12 and the 1. The 12 and the 1, so now if we add 12 over here and 1 centimeter down there, 12 plus 12 is equal to 24, and 1 plus 1, oops, jumped ahead of myself. 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 24 plus 2 is equal to 26. So we would get 26 centimeters. Alright, and so now we need to compare and contrast these. How are they alike? How are they different? Alright, this would be a great point in which to bring up the differences between and the similarities between these different squared. No, not squares, they're rectangles. The difference between these with students. So if they had been working, let's say, in a small group or in partners on this problem, this would be a good time for them to compare the rectangles that they've made and see if they got the same as their partners and all that. So they're alike in the sense that they each have an area of 12, and that's because we're working with 12 tiles. But they're different because they're all in different shapes. So some are skinnier, some are wider, those are different attributes of them as well. Also, they're different because their perimeters don't add up the same. So even though they all have the same area, they don't have the same perimeter. So that's an important note to make, so that students don't think that just because they have the same area, that means they'll have the same perimeter. And yeah, so that's how we solve this problem.